Yao intended to ask for help from the great Qi immortal dynasty. But Jiang Muyu wanted to let Li Chang'an try. The two disagreed, so they decided to ask for Li Chang'an's opinion first. Jiang Muyu said, "Young master, that senior left behind several alchemy trials. You happen to be a tier 3 alchemist, so as long as you make a move, you'll definitely be able to pass them." "Taoist Li, are you really a tier 3 alchemist?" Qi Yao, carrying the scent of peonies, stepped forward and asked Li Chang'an in a soft tone. She had investigated Li Chang'an before and knew he possessed both tier 2 peak alchemy and talisman art skills. Now that Li Chang'an had broken through to the golden core realm, it was perfectly normal for these two skills to advance to tier 3, provided he had the right legacy teachings. However, based on Qi Yao's judgment, an ordinary tier 3 low-grade alchemist wouldn't be able to pass the trials in that grotto mansion. Li Chang'an nodded and said, "Taoist Qi, my alchemy skill has indeed broken through to tier 3. If the grotto mansion only contains alchemy trials, I should be able to pass. In that case, we'll have to trouble Taoist Li to give it a try." Qi Yao extended the invitation, her delicate hand offering a jade scroll. Inside the jade scroll was the location of the senior's grotto mansion. In truth, she had little confidence in Li Chang'an, and still planned to request reinforcements from the great Qi immortal dynasty. Unfortunately, Jiang Muyu was full of confidence in Li Chang'an. To stay on good terms with Jiang Muyu, Qi Yao had no choice but to let Li Chang'an try. "If Taoist Li fails, I'll just get help from great Qi. Muyu won't have anything to say then," she thought to herself. Not long after, the group of 4 left Chang'an Mountain and rushed to the grotto mansion. About an hour later, they arrived at the grotto mansion's location. It was called a grotto mansion, but it was actually an underground palace. The underground palace was dark and silent, filled with a decaying aura. Upon entering, Li Chang'an swept the area with his divine sense and immediately detected the presence of countless mechanisms and traps. At the entrance of the underground palace, there was an alchemy furnace. Beside the furnace were 3 sets of alchemy materials and a jade scroll. "Young master, the first trial is to refine a tier 3 low-grade elixir called the Celestial Thunder Magical Pill. The jade scroll contains its pill formula," Jiang Muyu explained softly to Li Chang'an. This Celestial Thunder Magical Pill was a type of ancient elixir that had long been lost to time. This pill could not be consumed. It was more like a magical treasure. After being crushed, it could unleash a burst of lightning against an enemy. "So it's a Dharma pill." Li Chang'an picked up the jade scroll and probed it with his divine sense. Dharma pills were unique. They could be used as single-use magical treasures, and their refining methods differed from those of normal elixir pills. This type of elixir pill was rare in the current cultivation immortality realm, and descriptions of Dharma pills were almost non-existent in most alchemy legacies. However, Li Chang'an had refined a Dharma pill long ago. The Snow Dream pill he had once refined for Mo Kingsu was a Dharma pill. Crushing it could create a flurry of snow. Previously, Jiang Muyu, Qi Yao, and Guo Zesheng had all been stumped by this Dharma pill. None of the 3 knew alchemy, so they had simply bypassed the alchemy furnace and sent puppets into the underground palace to search for the legacy. Since they had come all this way, they couldn't just give up because of a few trials. Perhaps the mechanisms and traps in the underground palace had decayed over time. However, the strength and integrity of the mechanisms and traps within the underground palace far exceeded their expectations. The Tier 1 and Tier 2 puppets they sent in were all torn to shreds. Even an extremely precious Tier 3 low-grade puppet owned by Qi Yao had become trapped by the mechanisms. Qi Yao asked, "Taoist Li, are you confident you can refine this Celestial Thunder Magical Pill?" "Let's give it a try." Li Chang'an didn't give a definite answer. He immediately summoned his pill fire and began feeding the materials next to the alchemy furnace into it one by one. Qi Yao and the others fell silent, standing to one side to act as his protectors. The refining process was exceptionally smooth. Before long, a dark blue elixir pill took shape inside the pill furnace. This elixir pill had no pill fragrance at all. Instead, it emitted a faint, oppressive aura, and its surface flickered with countless fine arcs of lightning. "It's done." Li Chang'an raised a hand, and the pill flew into his palm. Qi Yao and Guo Zesheng exchanged a glance, surprise evident in both their eyes. The entire process had been far too smooth, without a single mistake. It was as if Li Chang'an had refined it countless times before. Originally, Qi Yao had estimated that Li Chang'an would most likely fail repeatedly, using up all 3 sets of materials. At that point, not only would she have to invite someone from Great Qi, but she would also have to gather more materials from Great Qi's treasure vault. But Li Chang'an had succeeded with just 1 set of materials, which truly exceeded her expectation. Yang Muyu said with a beaming smile, "Young master, I knew you could do it. Taoist Li, your alchemy skill is extraordinary. I am sincerely impressed," Gu Zesheng praised with genuine sincerity. Qi Yao smiled. "I never expected Taoist Li to have such abilities. You truly hide your talents well." The two of them had originally only befriended Li Chang'an for Jiang Muyu's sake and hadn't thought much of him. But now they had both changed their minds. The importance of a Tier 3 alchemist often outweighed that of a golden core cultivator. In response to their praise, Li Chang'an just smiled. It was just luck. With that, he tossed the elixir pill in his hand into the hole in front of them. A moment later, the underground palace suddenly trembled. The mechanisms and traps on either side of the entrance slowly parted, revealing a deep passageway. Li Chang'an swept it with his divine sense and found no mechanisms or traps within the passageway. But he remained vigilant, sending out a puppet to scout the path for him and traverse the entire passageway. At the end of the passageway was the second trial. It was alchemy again. Li Chang'an picked up the pill formula and looked it over. This elixir pill was also Tier 3 low grade, but its refining difficulty was slightly higher than the celestial thunder magical pill. Of course, to him, this was nothing. He stepped forward himself, summoned his pill fire once more, and refined the second elixir pill in no time. After he tossed the elixir pill into the hole ahead, the entire underground palace trembled again. Buzz! The mechanisms and traps in front of them parted, revealing a new passageway. After that, Li Chang'an passed several more trials in succession. The further they went, the more difficult the required elixir pills were to refine. The astonishment in Qi Yao and Gu Zesheng's hearts grew ever stronger, because Li Chang'an succeeded on his first try every single time. Just what level has Taoist Li's mastery of the alchemy Tao reached? Chapter 611, Chapter 304, Massive Harvest Middle Stage Black Tortoise. The 9th trial involved refining an extremely difficult Tier 3 middle-grade Dharma pill. Had it been any other alchemist, even a Tier 3 top grade one, they would have struggled to succeed on the first attempt. Although Qi Yao wasn't a pill master, she had met many and often observed the alchemy process. She judged that the difficulty of refining this Dharma pill was already on par with that of an ordinary Tier 3 top-grade elixir. Yet Li Chang'an still succeeded on his first try. His expression relaxed the entire time, as if he felt no pressure whatsoever. How could she not be astonished? "Taoist Li, are you perhaps a Tier 3 top-grade alchemist?" "You misunderstand, Taoist Qi. My alchemy skill is only at Tier 3 middle grade. I haven't received the inheritance for any higher levels." Li Chang'an smiled and dropped the pill into the opening, offering no further explanation. With a soft click, the underground palace trembled, and the mechanisms and traps ahead parted once more. This time, what appeared before them wasn't a passageway, but a narrow, secret chamber. The chamber's furnishings were Spartan, containing only a jade table and a few cyan lamps. The skeletal remains of the senior sat cross-legged behind the jade table, his storage pouch resting upon it. Li Chang'an directed his puppet to step forward and bow deeply. "Thank you, senior, for leaving this inheritance." He used his puppet body to retrieve the storage pouch, discovering it had no restrictions and could be opened directly. Inside the storage pouch were some relatively rare Tier 3 alchemy materials. In addition to those, there were 2 jade scrolls. With a flash of light in his hand, Li Chang'an produced the 2 jade scrolls. He extended 2 wisps of his divine sense, one into each jade scroll, to examine their contents. The first jade scroll contained the Tier 3 top-grade alchemy inheritance. At the end of the inheritance were over a dozen extremely precious ancient pill formulas, most of which had been lost to the modern cultivation immortality realm. Blood weight pill. Li Chang'an's eyes brightened. He had found the purpose of his journey. The pill formula for the blood weight pill was right there. In addition, Li Chang'an spotted another familiar elixir. Purple spirit pill. This pill could help an early-stage golden core cultivator break through to the middle stage, and its effects were quite remarkable. but its pill formula was held by the Purple Mist sect. No one else in the entire southern domain knew how to refine it. Chang'an never imagined he would have the good fortune to obtain the pill formula for this elixir. He took a closer look. The treasures required to refine this purple spirit pill would cost, at most, 10,000 middle-grade spirit stones altogether. What's more, these treasures are all fairly common and not difficult to find. But the sale price of a single purple spirit pill, by a conservative estimate, is over 150,000 middle-grade spirit stones. Back when the Xianxia had bestowed this pill upon Chang'an, many golden core masters had sent him sound transmissions, wanting to buy it from him. The prices they offered were astonishing. One golden core master from the Dan Valley Zio family had offered a price of 150,000 middle-grade spirit stones and indicated that the price was negotiable. The alchemy Tao is truly a source of immense profit. This is a great opportunity to get rich. Chang'an could faintly see a path paved with spirit stones opening up before him. Breaking through the golden core stage is as difficult as ascending to the heavens. The vast majority of golden core masters, even those who successfully condense a true pill, remain trapped in the early stage of golden core for their entire lives. For a single chance at a breakthrough, they would willingly part with countless treasures. Of course, Chang'an wouldn't dare compete for business with the Purple Mist sect. This kind of pill could only be sold secretly, under the table. I don't necessarily have to sell them in the southern domain. There are plenty of cultivators throughout the Zhao country's cultivation realm who are stuck in the early stage of golden core. Chang'an thought for a moment and felt the idea was feasible. Coincidentally, Luo Qiantong's information network was already established, so he could ask for his help in spreading the word about selling purple spirit pills. It was a bit risky, but worth a try. Chang'an was in dire need of spirit stones. Although he had gained much, his path of body refining and the evergreen vine were two bottomless pits that devoured resources, impossible to ever fully satisfy. He now had just over 200,000 middle-grade spirit stone left in his storage pouch. Besides the purple spirit pill, these other pills are also promising. The earth cloud yellow sand pill, the seven-colored dream mist pill. They all have unique effects, and ordinary golden core masters have almost no way to purchase them. Chang'an pondered this seriously. The evergreen vine's growth was slowing down. He had originally worried that even by the time he reached the golden core peak, he still wouldn't be able to upgrade his spiritual root to a celestial spirit root. Now, by using these rare pills to earn resources, the evergreen vine's growth rate was sure to increase significantly. After I get back, I need to raise my alchemy skill to tier 3 top grade as soon as possible. Chang'an made up his mind. He duplicated the contents of the Jade scroll and tossed the copy to Qi Yao. The two of them had already agreed to split the gains from this venture equally. Although Chang'an had passed all the trials in the underground palace on his own, Qi Yao and her group had provided the clues and the location. Taoist Li, what's in the second Jade scroll? Qi Yao's eyes sparkled with curiosity as she gazed at the other Jade scroll. Chang'an answered, it's a message left by the senior. Without hesitation, he made a copy of that Jade scroll as well. The contents of the Jade scroll were brief. The senior had left behind his life story. He had been a loose cultivator with a passion for alchemy. Unfortunately, his talent for the alchemy Tao was abysmal. Despite traveling far and wide to study under various masters, his alchemy skill had barely reached tier 2. He had thought he would never achieve great heights in the alchemy Tao in his lifetime. But one day, by a stroke of luck, he obtained a memory stone. Within that memory stone, he witnessed a scene of a senior named Master Dancheng instructing his disciple, answering questions and clearing up his confusion. Although he was dazed as he listened and only half understood most of what was said, his alchemy skill improved significantly. From then on, he spent the rest of his life searching the vast cultivation immortality realm, seeking any trace left behind by Senior Master Dancheng. Chapter 612, Chapter 304, Massive Harvest Middle Stage Mystic Turtle. But he didn't gain much from it. On his deathbed, he left behind words of regret in a Jade scroll. Sigh, if only I could have studied under Elder Master Dancheng, perhaps I could have gone further on the alchemy Tao in this life. But alas, countless ages separate me from Elder Master Dancheng. I fear he must have passed away long ago. He regretted being born too late to live in the same era, as Elder Master Dan Cheng. But Li Chang'an knew perfectly well. That elder is still alive and well. I wonder what realm Master Dan Cheng has reached by now. He's probably nearing the legendary path of longevity. Li Chang'an also wished to study under him, but he had no idea where the man was. If fate allows, perhaps I'll get to meet this elder again someday. Li Chang'an reigned in his thoughts and didn't mention the matter to anyone else. A while later, they left the underground palace and returned to Chang'an Mountain. Qi Yao and Gu Zesheng had accomplished their goal in the southern domain. A few days later, the two bid their farewells and returned to the great Qi immortal dynasty in the central domain, taking the legacy with them. Jiang Muyu, however, remained on Chang'an Mountain. As always, not much had changed with her. In the days that followed, Li Chang'an split his time between practicing his alchemy skill and dismantling the underground palace for its materials. In the world of cultivation, time flies. In the blink of an eye, 3 years had passed. During these 3 years, Li Chang'an finished dismantling the entire underground palace. He used the materials he salvaged to create 4 Tier 3 middle-grade puppets, which he stationed to guard the 4 corners of Chang'an Immortal City. He had already taught the manipulation technique for the puppets to the patriarchs of the 4 families at the foot of the mountain. From now on, even in his absence, Chang'an Immortal City could use its array and puppets to deal with powerful Golden Core stage enemies. Furthermore, Li Chang'an's alchemy skill had officially broken through to Tier 3 top grade. On this particular day, he spent 10,000 middle-grade spirit stones to buy a set of ingredients for refining the purple spirit pill, and attempted to do so over a Tier 3 earth fire. Before long, a rich pill fragrance wafted out of the pill furnace. "Come!" Li Chang'an raised his hand and beckoned. A purple pill flew out and landed in his palm. The quality of this elixir pill was quite good, even better than the one Zai Zai had given him. If it were given to a cultivator who had been stuck at the early stage of Golden Core for many years, like Wang Chuanjian of the 10,000 Swords sect, it would most likely allow him to break through on the spot and become a middle-stage Golden Core cultivator. Over the next few months, Li Chang'an continuously bought ingredients to refine purple spirit pills, then quietly sold the finished products through various channels. No one knew that he was the one refining them. The Golden Core cultivators who bought the elixir pills were also very cautious, never publicizing the matter and consuming them in secret. This batch of elixir pills was bought up almost entirely by the Golden Core influences of the southern domain. As a result, in just a few short months, the overall strength of the entire southern domain had risen by a level. Liang Chang, Wang Chuanjian, Jin Huan, and others all broke through to the middle stage of Golden Core. They all shared a tacit understanding and kept their breakthroughs quiet. However, the group met secretly at the Cyan Cloud sect to discuss the matter. "Everyone, who do you think is selling these purple spirit pills? Could it be the Purple Mist sect?" The Purple Mist sect has never been this generous in the past. They've always kept a tight grip on their cultivation resources, refusing to sell no matter how many spirit stones you offered. But things are different now. They speculated that the Purple Mist sect might want to officially intervene in the war between the two domains, but couldn't find a suitable excuse. The death of Shihu Master was likely a test by the Purple Mist sect. This time, by raising the overall strength of the southern domain cultivation realm, the Purple Mist sect was most likely trying to pressure the western domain and force the Yellow Sand sect to make the first move. The speculation was sound and well-reasoned. So much so that even Li Chang'an felt there was nothing wrong with it. "It must have been the Purple Mist sect," he said in agreement, nodding from his seat on the side. No one present knew that Li Chang'an's storage pouch was already filled with over 2 million middle-grade spirit stones, the equivalent of more than 20,000 top-grade spirit stones. In the next half-year, Li Chang'an's presence could be felt all across the Zhao country's cultivation realm. He used various identities to travel between the cultivation realms of the 5 great domains, east, south, west, north, and central, purchasing large quantities of treasures to cultivate his evergreen vine, spending spirit stones like flowing water. He also used a portion of his spirit stones on the path of body refining. He spared no expense, refining a large quantity of blood-weight pills and preparing countless restorative spirit medicines and treasures for the 2 Flood Dragon Kings. Before he had even finished the 3rd stage of body refining, Li Chang'an had already collected 4 portions of essence blood. It feels good to be rich. He smiled in high spirits. After having so much of their essence blood drawn, the 2 flood dragon kings' auras hadn't weakened. In fact, they had grown stronger. Li Chang'an had simply fed them far too many treasures. As for this kind of life, the 2 flood dragon kings didn't mind it at all. They were even faintly looking forward to Li Chang'an's next extraction of their essence blood. Even if they just lay around and did nothing, the speed of their cultivation growth was now much faster than when they had trained so arduously before. The other demon kings of the 100 Beasts sect watched with envy. The Snake King asked in frustration, "Elder Li, is my snake blood really useless?" "It's somewhat useful, but not by much," Li Chang'an said casually. Although he also needed other Tier 3 demon beast essence blood, there was plenty in the 100 Beast sect's treasure vault. For now, there was no need to draw it from the other demon kings. He had many treasures for nurturing demon beasts, but he couldn't be wasteful. After all, Xiaohai and Dawang still needed them. 1 month later, on Chang'an Mountain, the heaven and earth spiritual power suddenly stirred. The surrounding spiritual power frantically converged on Chang'an Mountain, forming a vortex. Li Chang'an used the array power to mask the celestial phenomenon, preventing it from being discovered by outsiders. The celestial phenomenon is stable, the breakthrough should be smooth. His eyes were profound as he gazed at the edge of the spirit lake on Chang'an Mountain. The cause of this celestial phenomenon was none other than the profound water turtle, which was lying by the side of the lake. Several hours later, the profound water turtle completed its advancement, becoming a Tier 3 middle stage demon beast. Chapter 613, Chapter 304, Massive Harvest Middle Stage Black Tortoise. Overjoyed, he transformed into a streak of light and appeared before Li Chang'an. "Thank you, Master." A Tier 3 demon beast's breakthrough was usually measured in centuries. Many demon beasts might never break through in their entire lives, like the Zhou family's old demon king, the abyssal water turtle. Before it took control of the Zhou family, its strength had been stagnant at the Tier 3 early stage for nearly 1,000 years, unable to advance further. The profound water turtle was only able to break through so quickly thanks to the vast amount of treasures Li Chang'an had given it. "You're welcome, cultivate well. Your cultivation is my cultivation, and I'm counting on you to reach Tier 4. Li Chang'an patted his head and smiled. "Xiaohai, if you can reach Tier 4, I won't have to worry about that old geezer Xianxia true monarch anymore. Rest assured, Master, I will not slack off." The profound water turtle was well aware of Li Chang'an's situation and cultivated with extreme diligence. Although Xianxia true monarch had signed a spirit contract with Jiang Xuanyuan, the contract wasn't very restrictive. He could tear it up by simply enduring a minor backlash. The reason he no longer acted personally was that he felt it wasn't worth suffering a backlash for a junior like Li Chang'an. For that reason, he only dispatched his disciples to act. After Shihu Master's death, the task of dealing with Li Chang'an fell to another one of his disciples, Wei Su. Wei Su was one of the Yellow Sand Sect's saint children, and his strength was formidable. However, after leaving the Yellow Sand Sect, he didn't move against Li Chang'an directly. Instead, he ended up in a confrontation with the Zai Zai Saintess. Over the past few years, the two sides had been locked in a stalemate outside a spiritual ore mine in the Thousand Lakes secret realm. Li Chang'an had heard that many good things had been excavated from the depths of that spiritual ore mine. Thankfully, Zai Zai is holding him back for me. Otherwise, I'd have to bother with dealing with that Wei Su. He had little interest in the treasures within the spiritual ore mine. He only hoped the two would continue their standoff and not disturb his cultivation. Of course, Liu Feiyan of Mandarin Duck Valley did not feel the same way. She had already urged Wei Su dozens of times, but Wei Su always found some excuse to put her off. During these years, the Mandarin Duck Valley Golden Core masters under Li Chang'an's control often heard Liu Feiyan's furious voice. The grudge between Mandarin Duck Valley and the 100 Beast sect should be escalated. Using the wood seed technique, Li Chang'an already controlled most of the Golden Core masters on both sides. Due to his deliberate provocations, the atmosphere between the two major sects grew increasingly tense. Clashes between their disciples became more frequent, gradually approaching the situation just before the outbreak of the Western Domain Civil War years ago. But Li Chang'an felt it wasn't enough. He needed to add more fuel to the fire. 6 months later, in a marketplace in the Western Domain, Li Chang'an manipulated the two puppets, Qian Yan Master and Fan Wenlong, to clash once again. Before this, he had used a purple spirit pill to help Qian Yan Master smoothly break through to the middle stage of Golden Core. Fan Wenlong, on the other hand, was still only at the early stage of Golden Core. Under Li Chang'an's deliberate control, Fan Wenlong was soundly defeated in this battle. He suffered grave injuries and fled back to Mandarin Duck Valley. His younger brother, Fan Wenhua, also a Golden Core Master, was slain by Qian Yan Master while trying to create an opportunity for him to escape. When the news spread, the entire Western Domain was shaken. The fall of a Golden Core Master was always a major event. Qian Yan Master actually killed Fan Wenhua. This is trouble. Are Mandarin Duck Valley and the 100 Beasts sect going to war again? The various powers of the Western Domain were all worried. Recently, on the Two Realms battlefield, the Southern Domain's strength had been elevated by Li Chang'an, causing the pressure on the Western Domain to skyrocket. The Southern Domain had already reclaimed a significant amount of lost territory. Just when the Western Domain needed to be united, something like this had suddenly happened. Inside the 100 Beasts sect, the 100 Beasts Elder convened a meeting with his people and the Demon Kings. He glanced at Qian Yan Master and sighed. Qian Yan, you were reckless this time. You shouldn't have killed Fan Wenhua. Li Chang'an, controlling Qian Yan Master, replied calmly. The deaths of my Tao companion and disciple were both inextricably linked to Fan Wenlong. Now I've only killed his brother. How can that be considered reckless? That may be so, but the war between the two domains is currently unstable. We should prioritize the bigger picture. I disagree. Li Chang'an's expression didn't change as he retorted to the 100 Beasts Elder. We cultivators pursue a path of freedom and ease. If we are always hesitant and fearful, what's the point of cultivating immortality? Must we abandon everything for the sake of the bigger picture? The 100 Beasts Elder fell silent for a moment. He had to admit that Li Chang'an had a very good point. But cultivators were still human. How many could truly be free and act without regard for the consequences? Meanwhile, deep within Mandarin Duck Valley, inside a secret chamber, the many Golden Core Masters of the valley had also fallen into silence. A moment ago, they had all worn furious expressions, declaring their intent to wage war against the 100 Beasts sect once more. The dozen or so Golden Core Masters controlled by Li Chang'an had appeared particularly indignant. But Liu Feiyan had forcefully suppressed everyone's emotions, saying only, the bigger picture is what matters. We cannot rashly engage in internal strife. For now, we should focus on the war between the two domains. At the very least, we must kill that Li Chang'an first before settling the Western Domain's internal affairs. Even at a time like this, she still hadn't forgotten about dealing with Li Chang'an. Li Chang'an couldn't help but wonder. Just how important was Fan Wei, the man I killed, to Liu Feiyan? Does Xianxia, true monarch, know about their relationship? For now, he could only wonder. Only after he killed Liu Feiyan and captured her soul could he slowly interrogate it. In the days that followed, thanks to the attitudes of the 100 Beasts Elder and Liu Feiyan, both major sects remained rational and did not resume hostilities. The silence on both sides was almost eerie. However, beneath this quiet, a turbulent undercurrent was surging, almost impossible to conceal. If a few more Golden Core Masters on both sides die, it should be about enough. But it's still not a sure thing. I'm afraid Liu Feiyan might have some sort of escape treasure. It would be best to first have the evil soul advance to the Tier 3 late stage to make the netherworld evil domain more stable. Over the years, Li Chang'an had been buying up souls in massive quantities. The number of souls within his soul banner had already surpassed 3.5 million, but that was still a long way from the 5 million required by the artifact spirit. Li Chang'an had found out that the Quasi-Tier 4 divination master from the Yin Soul sect possessed over 2 million souls. Furthermore, he also had several demonic treasures that the Venerable Soul Banner needed to advance to the Tier 3 top grade. For years, this man had been using divination to search for traces of Li Fan. As long as I kill him, I can gather everything the Venerable Soul Banner needs. Li Chang'an secretly set his sights on this divination master. The old geezer has been looking for me for so many years. It's the perfect time to show up and give him a surprise. Just as he was thinking this, he suddenly felt something and looked up at the vast sky. Why is that old geezer trying to divine my location again? Does he have that much lifespan to burn? Chapter 614, Chapter 305, Born of Water and Fire, a Divinity Transformation Disciple. The Yin Soul Sect, deep within the spiritual land. Quasi-Tier 4 Divination Master Yuan Tianxuan sat cross-legged with his eyes lightly shut. In the void around him, symbols, some bright and some dim, materialized. Before him lay a grayish-white turtle shell. On the turtle shell, spirit patterns flickered and golden light shimmered, constantly shifting, faintly coalescing into the shape of a person. But just then his face paled, and he let out a stifled groan. Crack! The turtle shell suddenly cracked. All the spirit patterns dissipated, and it went completely dark. Yuan Tianxuan slowly opened his eyes. A trace of exhaustion flickered within them as he sighed. Still no good. He took out a few restorative elixir pills and a life-extending treasure, swallowing them both. As a golden core master, his lifespan extended to 500 years. He was currently just over 200 years old. However, his temples were already gray. Clearly, he had paid a heavy price over the years trying to deduce Li Chang'an's true location. I turned his connections into threads to weave a great net across heaven and earth. It should have been enough to catch that Li Fan, but I still failed. Around him were more than 10 items. Among them were a lock of hair from the withered wood cliff master, Wu Ming, a broken puppet from Mo Feng, a piece of Luo Qiantong's robe. According to the Yin Soul Sect's investigations, all these people had been in contact with Li Chang'an. Therefore, Yuan Tianxuan had his subordinates secretly acquire these items. Using his divination technique, he transformed them into a web of connections, attempting to find Li Chang'an within it. Had his target been an ordinary golden core cultivator, he would have been found long ago. But his opponent just had to be Li Chang'an. The Saint Child Wu Gu walked over and asked, "Master Yuan, still no luck?" "Saint Child, I fear the treasure on Li Fan is of a much higher tier than we previously estimated. Even a true Tier 4 Divination Grandmaster might not be able to deduce his true location." Yuan Tianxuan shook his head, explaining the difficulty of the matter. "I gave this divination my all, even at the cost of 30 years of my lifespan, but it was still not enough. So the path of divination is a dead end. We'll have to find another way to deal with that Li Fan." Wu Gu's brows furrowed. He was not in a good mood. Years ago, when he had first arrived at the Yin Soul Sect, he had vowed to slay Li Fan and make everyone understand the price of offending a demon sect. But after all these years, Li Fan was still alive and well. He was like a venomous snake hiding in the shadows. Though he couldn't be seen, Wu Gu could often sense his cold, sinister aura. "Li Fan, where in the world are you?" Wu Gu's expression was grim. If he couldn't handle this matter, the nascent soul-old demons within the demon sect would likely look down on him. Yuan Tianxuan reminded him, "Saint Child, Li Fan has the Venerable Soul Banner." "I understand." The Venerable Soul Banner was an opening. Both of them knew this. Over the years, Li Chang'an had most likely been acquiring souls on a massive scale. But with the growth of the Yin Soul Sect, demon cultivators in the southern domain were innumerable, and soul trading had long become commonplace. Countless demon cultivators bought souls every day, making it difficult to find Li Chang'an hidden among them. "Saint Child, this matter cannot be rushed. Take it slow. Li Fan isn't perfect, he'll reveal a flaw eventually." "All right, thank you, Master, for helping me with this burden." In the days that followed, the two of them focused their attention on the soul trade across the entire southern domain, closely monitoring every transaction point and taking note of every demon cultivator involved. Before long, they discovered a rather unusual cultivator. This cultivator only had a chi refining cultivation, yet he purchased souls multiple times. His wealth didn't match his strength. "No rush, let's note this person down for now. We can't startle the snake." Wu Gu remained patient, hiding in the shadows, not rushing to make a move. About half a year later, they had already discovered over 50 unusual cultivators. Li Fan must be one of these cultivators. We'd observe for a while longer. They had already spent years trying to deal with Li Chang'an. They didn't mind waiting a little longer. They just needed to find the right moment to strike. Little did they know, almost all of these unusual cultivators were fake puppet bodies that Li Chang'an was using as bait. The reason he acted abnormally was precisely to lure out Yuan Tianxuan or Wu Gu, but the two of them were more level-headed than he had anticipated. He'd been fishing for half a year and hadn't caught anything. No wonder this Wu Gu could become a true saint child. Even setting aside his cultivation and methods, his temperament is far superior to the four so-called saint childs from before. Li Chang'an mused to himself. He realized that as he progressed, his enemies were becoming more and more cautious. It makes sense when you think about it. If they weren't cautious, it would be difficult to reach the golden core realm. Li Chang'an wasn't in a hurry either. He continued to use his fake bodies as bait, refusing to believe the two could hold out forever. Sure enough, before long, one of his fake puppet bodies ran into trouble. One day, Li Chang'an controlled a fake puppet body into a small marketplace, found a demon cultivator, and purchased some souls. Midway through the transaction, a few people suddenly intervened, trying to forcefully buy the souls he had already purchased. A conflict erupted. Such conflicts were quite common in a marketplace teeming with demon cultivators. But Li Chang'an knew very well that this seemingly normal conflict was most likely a test from the Yin Soul sect. Finally couldn't hold back anymore. He controlled the puppet body, planning to leave with the souls, but the people who had tried to strong-arm him wouldn't let him go. The verbal conflict escalated into magical combat. This puppet body only had a chi refining cultivation and was no match for them. It was quickly killed, breaking into a pile of shattered puppet parts on the ground. It's just a puppet. The onlookers all looked rather surprised. Before long, the broken puppet was sent deep into the Yin Soul sect's headquarters. Chapter 615, Chapter 305, Second Birth of Water and Fire Divinity Transformation Disciple. Yuan Tianxuan looked at the puppet, his face alight with joy as if he had found a priceless treasure. He carefully sensed the aura within it. Inside this puppet is a cold, sinister golden core aura. It doesn't match any golden core cultivator in the southern domain, nor is it from any golden core master of my Yin Soul sect. It must be that Li Fan. With this as a guide, even if I can't divine the location of his true self, I can still find his other puppet bodies. Master, should we tell the Wu Gu saint child about this? His disciple asked. Upon hearing this, Yuan Tianxuan slowly shook his head. His deep voice sounded out. No, Li Fan possesses a great opportunity. If I can obtain it, I might have a chance to reach the nascent soul realm. He was desperate to know. Just what is that treasure Li Chang'an has? Meanwhile, on Chang'an Mountain, inside the cave abode, Li Chang'an casually repaired a few ordinary puppets, deliberately leaving a few traces of a cold, sinister aura within them. The fish should be taking the bait soon. I just wonder how many will bite. He had already prepared an inescapable trap. Even if the saint child, Wu Gu, took the bait, he was confident he could eliminate him. In the days that followed, Li Chang'an deliberately exposed a location. After purchasing souls, some of his puppets would cautiously return to that location. Soon, that location was targeted by Yuan Tianxuan. The Li Chang'an avatar stationed there sensed that he was being watched. He had a premonition that the time to make his move was approaching. However, at midnight that night, the word failure appeared in the results of his divination. Divination has been refreshed. Today's divination, neutral. You attempt to make a move against Yuan Tianxuan, but your concealment methods are seen through. He escapes in advance, and your plan ends in failure. My concealment methods were seen through. Li Chang'an was a little surprised. This meant that both his own concealment abilities and the array he had hidden in advance could potentially be seen through by Yuan Tianxuan. As expected of a Quasi-Tier 4 divination master, I underestimated him before. Gazing at the divination's contents, Li Chang'an fell into deep thought for a long time. He needed better concealment methods. Otherwise, he would be detected by Yuan Tianxuan long before he could even get close. As a divination master, his self-preservation skills and keen perception far surpassed those of an ordinary golden core cultivator. Li Chang'an had investigated. This Yuan Tianxuan trusted no one, only his divination technique. He was even on guard against his own disciples and family. For this very reason, Li Chang'an had not attempted to turn them into puppets through refining. Forget it, there's no rush, I'll wait a while longer. He dismantled the inescapable trap he had set and temporarily concealed his tracks. In the following days, Li Chang'an continued to collect various concealing treasures and magic, but he didn't find much. The best concealing treasure he possessed was still the Qi concealing pearl. His best technique was the refining shadow invisible technique. But even when using both together, he would still be detected by Yuan Tianxuan. Late one night, Li Chang'an stared at the failure divination that had appeared once again and fell into thought. Since I can't kill him, I'll just kill a few ordinary demon sect golden core cultivators. That should be enough to gather the souls I need. As for the treasures the venerable soul banner needs to devour to advance to tier 3 top grade, I'll just have to find a way to trade for them slowly through various channels. Just as he was thinking this, a jade pendant inside his storage pouch suddenly reacted. Hello? With a thought, Li Chang'an took out the jade pendant. It was a communication jade pendant, one that Xianxia had left with the Mu family. If nothing had happened to her, it could be used to contact her. But after she disappeared, the jade pendant had remained silent. Today, it suddenly began to grow slightly warm. Li Chang'an sent a wisp of his divine sense into it, and immediately heard Xianxia's voice. Grandmaster Chengsong, it's me, Xianxia. I'm trapped in a dangerous area within the Thousand Lakes secret realm. This place is extremely dangerous for Foundation establishment cultivators. Please, I must trouble you to ask the ancestor to come and save me. Xianxia clearly still thought the jade pendant was in Mu Chengsong's hands. The ancestor she spoke of was, of course, the fake pill master Mu Song. Mu Song had already died after reaching the end of his lifespan. But trapped inside the secret realm, she was unaware of this. Li Chang'an gripped the jade pendant and sent a sound transmission into it. Taoist Mu, where exactly are you trapped? Taoist Li. Xianxia's surprised voice quickly sounded from the jade pendant. She couldn't possibly understand how the jade pendant had ended up in Li Chang'an's hands. Taoist Li, has something happened to my Mu family? Xianxia's tone grew anxious. She suspected the Mu clan territory had been breached and the family's treasures divided among various powers. Otherwise, the jade pendant would not have fallen into outside hands. Li Chang'an replied, rest assured, Taoist Mu, the Mu family is still safe. This jade pendant is in my possession for other reasons. It's a long story. I'll explain it all to you after I rescue you. Then all right. Xianxia didn't press for more details. Li Chang'an had saved her life once before. Back then, she had faintly sensed that Li Chang'an's aura was from the same source as her own Cyanwood spirit body. Because of this, she trusted Li Chang'an implicitly. Taoist Li, the place where I'm trapped is deep within the Thousand Lakes secret realm. Xianxia slowly began to explain, carefully describing the exact location where she was trapped. After she finished, she still insisted that the place was too dangerous and that it would be best to ask her Mu family's ancestor, Mu Song, for help. Li Chang'an informed her, Taoist Mu, the Mu family's ancestor Mu Song, has already passed away from old age. What, the ancestor he? Xianxia froze for a moment. A moment later, her voice filled with sorrow and self-reproach sounded out. It's all my fault. I was too willful and acted without thinking of the consequences. Now I'm trapped in this perilous place, and I didn't even get to see the ancestor one last time. Taoist Mu, this is not the time for self-blame. Tell me about the specific situation in that dangerous area. Chapter 616, Chapter 305, Born of Water and Fire Divinity Transformation Disciple. All right. Xianxia knew what was important and immediately began to explain to Li Chang'an. The place where she was trapped was beneath a large lake, in a very peculiar space. This space suppressed divine sense. Her divine sense couldn't spread very far, making it difficult for her to use it to detect danger. The reason she had entered was just as Li Chang'an had guessed, for the legacy of the Cyanwood celestial monarch from 30,000 years ago. Li Chang'an asked her, Taoist Mu, did you find the legacy of that divinity transformation senior? No, I didn't find anything. Xianxia held nothing back and explained the whole story. She had a special constitution. While exploring a secret realm, she'd suddenly felt a connection and followed it, finding a token engraved with the words Cyanwood. Inside the token, a special space was marked. At the time, she was ecstatic, thinking it contained the Cyanwood celestial monarch's legacy. But the reality was completely different from what she had imagined. This space held no legacy. Instead, it was filled with dangerous traps which had kept her trapped for many years. Some traps even blocked the effect of her communication Jade pendant, making it impossible for her to contact the outside world. Today, she had finally managed to escape from one of the traps, allowing her communication Jade pendant to function normally again. Taoist Li, this space is incredibly complex, filled with poisonous fog, monsters, various traps, and broken arrays. It's also very difficult to use divine sense. You mustn't force your way in. Please find a golden core master to help me. It's fine, I am already a golden core. What? Xianxia was astonished. Before she was trapped, Li Chang'an's strength seemed to be only at the middle stage of foundation establishment. How did he reach core formation so quickly? Taoist Li, how many years have passed in the outside world? Xianxia was anxious, thinking that the flow of time was different between the two spaces. Such things had occasionally happened in the history of the cultivation realm. According to legend, a cultivator was once hunting demons in the mountains when he saw two immortals playing chess. He became engrossed watching them. By the time he came to his senses, the two immortals had vanished, and the world outside had completely changed, with countless ages having passed. Li Chang'an reassured her, "Don't worry, Taoist Mu. I was just hiding some of my cultivation. Not much has changed outside." "I see." Xianxia relaxed a little, breathing a sigh of relief. "Then I'll have to trouble Taoist Li to save my life." "All right, I'll give it a try." Li Chang'an agreed. Since the token Xianxia found points to that space, it's possible there really are treasures related to the firewood celestial monarch inside. It's just that Xianxia's cultivation is too low for her to find them. Of course, Li Chang'an wouldn't take any unnecessary risks. If the divination shows danger, I'll give up on this. He quietly left Chang'an Mountain and entered the Black Dragon Mountain range. The entrance to the Thousand Lakes secret realm was deep within this mountain range. A few days later, Li Chang'an entered the Thousand Lakes secret realm. Instantly, a dense wave of water element spiritual power washed over him, making his whole body feel damp and sticky. This was his first time entering the Thousand Lakes secret realm. As far as the eye could see, the entire secret realm was a vast expanse of azure blue. The sky was deep and clear as a washed-out sapphire, like an inverted lake. The land below was dotted with lakes of all sizes, like stars. No wonder it's called the Thousand Lakes secret realm. This place is perfect for cultivators with a water spirit root. Li Chang'an transformed into a streak of light, flying over one lake after another, avoiding various dangerous areas along the way as he headed straight for the depths of the Thousand Lakes secret realm. The Thousand Lakes secret realm hadn't been discovered for very long, so there were still many dangerous areas that remained unexplored. Every day, many cultivators entered it to explore and hunt for treasure. 3 days later, Li Chang'an discovered a peculiar place. There were two large lakes here. One was the color of water, while the other was filled with burning magma. It felt somewhat familiar, and after a moment of thought, he quickly understood why. Years ago, before his foundation establishment, he had killed the Cow family disciple Cao Hao and found a top-tier foundation establishment spiritual object in his storage pouch, the water and fire two-life flower. He later learned from interrogation that Cao Hao had obtained that water and fire two-life flower from a strange place. So this is the place. Li Chang'an slowly descended, spreading his divine sense to see if there were any other treasures. Such unique locations often give birth to many treasures. However, he didn't find much. But when he extended his divine sense into the depths of the two lakes, he felt a sharp sting. There's a treasure. Deep within the magma lake, there was a scorching hot mass that shone like a brilliant sun, its entire body a resplendent gold. The moment Li Chang'an's divine sense drew near, he felt the pain of it about to melt. And in the depths of the other, water-blue lake, there was an extremely icy aura. His divine sense couldn't touch that one either. Even just forcing it close gave him the sensation that it was about to freeze solid. They are indeed treasures, but with my current abilities, I can't take them away. Li Chang'an frowned and withdrew his divine sense. He had a faint feeling that both of these treasures would be beneficial to his divine sense, but his current strength was insufficient to withstand them. By the time his strength was sufficient in the future, these two treasures might have already been taken by someone else. A golden core cultivator probably can't take this opportunity. The only worry is if a nascent soul true monarch finds out about it. but this thousand-lake secret realm has been discovered for many years. This place must have been investigated by many cultivators, yet no one has taken the opportunity so far. Chang'an pondered for a moment. He had considered setting up an array to conceal this place. But doing so would be like trying to hide something in plain sight, which would only arouse the curiosity of others. Forget it, if I get it, it's my fortune. If I lose it, it's my fate. I can't force it. Chang'an memorized the location, and, without further hesitation, transformed into a streak of light and departed. Another few days passed. He finally arrived at the place where Xianxia was trapped. This location was also a large lake, with a special space beneath its surface. Chang'an didn't enter. Instead, he waited quietly outside. Soon midnight arrived. A golden light appeared before his eyes. Divination has been refreshed. Today's divination, Auspicious. You enter the strange space within the thousand-lake secret realm, successfully rescue Xianxia, and obtain the legacy of a registered disciple of the firewood celestial monarch. Within the legacy, you discover the celestial grade concealing technique, shadow transformation illusion body. Chapter 617, Chapter 306, Death of the Avatar, numerous misunderstandings. Celestial grade concealing technique. Chang'an was overjoyed. This was exactly the kind of technique he needed. All the concealing treasures he had prepared before were not as practical as a single celestial grade technique. Besides, based on the divination, this special space was indeed related to the firewood celestial monarch. The inheritance of his registered disciple might contain records about him. Chang'an was tempted by the thought. He no longer hesitated, immediately using an escape technique to plunge into the lake. Thousands of feet below the lake's surface, in the gloomy depths, lay a sealed door. When Chang'an passed through it, the surrounding lake water vanished abruptly. He had arrived in a gray, dim world. As far as the eye could see, the world was a murky gray expanse, filled with a cold, sinister aura, making it impossible to see what lay in the distance. Chang'an tried to use his divine sense to probe the situation within the surrounding gray mist. However, just as Xianxia had said, this space severely suppressed one's divine sense. He found it exceptionally difficult, as if a mountain-crushing force was pressing down on his divine sense. Even my puppets are suppressed. Chang'an had intended to use his puppets to scout ahead. But a puppet had barely gone a short distance before he lost his connection to it. Dangers lurked all around. Without something to scout the path, it would be easy to stumble into a trap. Fortunately, after some experimentation, Chang'an discovered that his blood-dripping incarnations were unaffected. As expected of a technique created by Mo Qingquang. A smile appeared on his face as he immediately flicked out several drops of blood. The drops of blood hit the ground and transformed into several incarnations, which, under his control, began to explore the churning gray mist in all directions. After a little more than a dozen breaths, one of Chang'an's incarnations was destroyed. The dangers here are no joke. He mentally marked the location as dangerous and began to map the space with himself as the center. Another dozen or so breaths passed, and his other incarnations were also destroyed one after another. Without hesitation, he flicked out over a dozen drops of blood, splitting his focus to control more than 10 incarnations simultaneously. And so, he continued to probe forward, avoiding one dangerous area after another as he ventured deeper into this space. Half a day later, Chang'an suddenly sensed a familiar aura. Hello? He was a little surprised. This aura didn't belong to Xianxia, but to one of the Zai Saintess's honored guest elders. The Tier 3 low-grade refiner Wu Shuo. Chang'an hadn't expected to run into him here. Wu Shuo had once competed with him for the spirit vein on Chang'an Mountain and for the earth fire, but they were not enemies. At that moment, Wu Shuo was just like him, cautiously feeling his way through the gray mist. But he didn't have blood-dripping incarnations, so he could only struggle to maintain his divine sense, barely managing to explore his immediate surroundings with it. Taoist Wu, what are you doing here? Chang'an walked up and asked. His sudden appearance gave Wu Shuo a start. Taoist Li. Wu Shuo composed himself, looking at Chang'an with equal surprise. He explained, I am here seeking opportunities with 2 other Taoist friends. What brings you here, Taoist Li? Same as you, for the opportunities. After a brief exchange, Chang'an learned why Wu Shuo had come here. As an artifact refiner, Wu Xiuo didn't need to risk his life exploring secret realms. He could acquire a wealth of cultivation resources simply by focusing on his craft. But he couldn't resist the invitation from his two Taoist friends and came to try his luck. On the path of cultivation, if you only seek stability, it's difficult to go far. Opportunities won't just come knocking on your door. Wu Xiuo sighed. His cultivation and skills had both stagnated for too long, which led him to consider taking a risk. The other two who had come with him were not strangers to Li Chang'an. One was Zai Yun, the younger sister of the Zai Saintess. He had seen her on the flying ship before, but had not had much contact with her. The last person was Yi Sang, a Tier 3 top-grade spirit doctor renowned throughout the southern domain. The man's spirit doctor skills were superb, and he was known for being benevolent and kind-hearted, possessing an excellent reputation in the southern domain. Years ago on Yellow Crane Mountain, he had tried to stop Li Chang'an from killing Zai Huhong and his son. He had urged Li Chang'an to be magnanimous, but Li Chang'an had severely injured him instead. Wu Xiuo said, "Not long ago, Taoist Yi was invited by the Saintess and, like me, became one of her honored guest elders." "I see." Li Chang'an wasn't surprised by this. With Yi Sang's spirit doctor skills, he was more than qualified to be an honored guest elder. At this point, Wu Xiuo couldn't help but sound a little regretful. "Taoist Li, you shouldn't have rejected the Saintess's invitation back then. If you had become an honored guest elder, you would surely have gone even further on your path of cultivation." "I'm not that ambitious. I'll be happy just to become a golden core cultivator." Li Chang'an smiled. Soon he followed Wu Xiuo and met the other two. Yi Sang was dressed in white robes and had a distinguished air about him. He exuded a faint, pleasant scent of medicinal herbs, which could easily make a good impression on people. "Taoist Li." He wore a smile, as if he didn't care at all about having been severely injured by Li Chang'an. Li Chang'an clasped his hands in a salute. "Taoist Yi, it's been many years." With that, he turned to the other person. Zai Yun, Zai Saintess's biological sister. She wore a purple dress, her eyes as clear as autumn pools, her brows delicately arched. Her face was exquisitely beautiful, and she faintly shared some of Zai's distinctive air. "Taoist Li." Her tone was indifferent as she offered a casual greeting. She really didn't have a favorable impression of Li Chang'an, the loose cultivator who had rejected her sister twice. After some conversation, Li Chang'an learned that Yi Sang had been the first to discover this place. He had sensed an opportunity within but wasn't confident he could claim it alone, so he had invited Zai Yun and Wu Xiuo. Yi Sang smiled and invited, "Taoist Li, since you're here as well, why not join us in exploring for opportunities?" "Very well." Chapter 618, Chapter 306, The Death of an Avatar, Numerous Misunderstandings. Li Chang'an did not refuse. Afterward, the two sides exchanged the maps they had each compiled. Although Li Chang'an had his blood-dripping incarnation, he had only been inside for a short time and hadn't explored much, so his map was far less detailed than the one from Yi Sang's trio. He didn't lose out on the exchange. Afterward, the four of them ventured deeper into the space shrouded in gray mist. Along the way, Yi Sang offered what seemed to be a kind reminder. "Taoist Li, you must be careful. A lot of this surrounding gray mist is poisonous. If you're not paying attention, you could be severely poisoned before you even know it." "Okay, thank you for the reminder, Taoist Yi." Li Chang'an replied with a smile. He wasn't too worried about this. The 10,000 poison goo in his sleeve was extremely sensitive to poisonous mist. The next few days went by rather smoothly. They narrowly avoided one dangerous area after another, venturing ever deeper into the space. That evening, a Tier 3 middle-stage demon beast suddenly attacked. The four of them were all only at the early stage of Golden Core. After a great deal of effort, they finally managed to kill it by working together. During the battle, Li Chang'an only displayed the strength of an ordinary early-stage Golden Core cultivator. Yi Sang and Wu Xiuo were slightly stronger than him. Zai Yun's strength was astonishing. She could fight above her tier and had dealt the most damage to the demon beast. "Is anyone hurt?" Yi Sang asked with concern. "I have plenty of spirit medicine here. If any of you need it, just take it." "Taoist Yi, you shouldn't be so kind to people, or they'll just think you're a pushover." Zai Yun smiled, her attitude toward Yi Sang exceptionally warm. She reminded Yi Sang, within the Purple Mist sect, There is a Tier 4 Spirit Doctor legacy, but many people have their eyes on it. You will inevitably have to compete with them for it in the future. You need to be more ruthless. For the rest of the journey, she took special care of Yisang. Clearly, his kind nature had left a very good impression on her. Before they knew it, several more days had passed. Late one night, another Tier 3 demon beast attacked. This demon beast was even more formidable than the last, its power bordering on the Tier 3 late stage. After a bitter struggle, the group finally managed to kill it. Strange, could it be that there are no opportunities here, only endless danger? Everyone, if we go any deeper, I'm afraid we'll encounter even more danger. Do you wish to continue? After a brief discussion, Yisang and the other two decided to explore for a few more days. If they still didn't find any opportunities, they would retrace their steps and leave this bizarre space. Chang'an had no objection. Even if the others left, he would continue onward until he found Xianxia and the legacy. As that thought crossed his mind, midnight arrived. A golden light materialized before his eyes. Divination has been refreshed. Today's divination, neutral. Under the pretext of healing, Yisang will offer you a spirit medicine. However, it is secretly laced with a Tier 3 potent poison. You will see through the ruse and refuse it. Poison in the medicine. Chang'an's gaze sharpened as he glanced at Yisang, who stood not far away. Could he be holding a grudge over what happened at Yellow Crane Mountain, planning to poison me to death right here? This place is filled with poisonous mist. Dying from poison would seem perfectly normal. No outsider would suspect a thing. Not long after, the four of them continued forward. They spread out, each maintaining some distance from the others as they explored slowly. After a while, Yisang came to Chang'an's side. With a look of deep concern, he asked kindly, "Taoist Li, it seems you were injured in that last battle." Just as the divination had predicted. Under the pretext of healing, he offered a dose of spirit medicine. Chang'an smiled. "Taoist Yi, my injuries aren't serious. You should take this spirit medicine for yourself. It looks to me like you were hurt pretty badly too." "You don't need to worry, Taoist Li. As a spirit doctor, I'm very aware of my own condition." "That's where you're wrong." Chang'an shook his head slightly, his tone grave. "Have you ever heard the saying, Taoist Yi, a healer cannot heal himself?" Yisang froze for a moment, a faint sense of unease creeping in. A spiritual light flashed in Chang'an's hand, and an elixir pill appeared. "Taoist Yi, you look pale. You seem to show signs of poisoning. This elixir pill is a top-quality Tier 3 detoxification pill." With that, he immediately dissolved the pill's essence, preparing to transfer the medicinal power into Yisang's body. Yisang's expression changed, and he immediately blocked it with his magical power. At this point, how could he not understand? Chang'an had already seen through him. "Taoist Li, can it be that you don't trust me?" As he spoke, he made a furtive move, launching more than a dozen nearly invisible poison needle magical treasures. At such close range, an ordinary golden core master would have almost certainly been caught in his trap. In the blink of an eye, the dozen or so poison needles pierced Chang'an's body. A sharp glint flashed in Yisang's eyes, believing he had succeeded. However, the next instant, Chang'an's body exploded on the spot, turning into a drop of black blood. This was not his true body, but merely a blood-dripping incarnation. Immediately after, a green light appeared behind Yisang. The Cyanwood divine light. With a boom, Yisang was blasted to pieces before he could react. He hadn't practiced body refinement, nor had he deployed a protective treasure, and was instantly reduced to a pile of bloody flesh. Soul comes. Chang'an immediately used Summoning Soul, intending to draw the soul into his venerable soul banner. To his surprise, however, Yisang's soul did not appear. He raised a hand, and Yisang's storage pouch flew into his grasp. He erased the restriction on it, then opened it for a look. There were very few treasures inside, not at all befitting Yisang's status. Something's wrong. This was just an incarnation. Chang'an frowned, scanning his surroundings. He had a faint feeling that Yisang's true body was nearby, but the dense gray mist prevented him from pinpointing its exact location. Just then, an angry voice rang out. Chapter 619, Chapter 306, The Clone's Death, Grave Misunderstandings. Chang'an, you killed Taoist Yi. Zai Yun appeared in the gray mist, her beautiful eyes blazing with fury as she gazed upon the mangled pile of flesh and bone. Wu Xiu also hurried over. When he saw the pile of mangled flesh, his expression shifted and he grew warier of Li Chang'an. "Taoist Li, why did you attack Taoist Yi?" "He was about to attack me. I sensed his intent, so naturally I couldn't just sit back and wait to die." Li Chang'an stated the truth, his expression calm. Hearing this, Wu Xiu was skeptical, and the wariness in his eyes did not diminish. Zai Yun, however, didn't believe a word of it. "Li Chang'an, Taoist Yi had no grudge against you. Knowing his character, why would he attack you? It's clear to me you coveted his Tier 3 spirit plan inheritance. Loose cultivators like you will stop at nothing for a few resources." "You are mistaken, Taoist Zai." Li Chang'an gave a slight shake of his head, his expression unchanging. He pointed to the pile of mangled flesh on the ground. "Back on Yellow Crane Mountain, Yisang tried to stop me from killing Zai Hu Hong, and I severely injured him. I imagine he's held a grudge ever since." "How is that possible? Do you think Taoist Yi is as narrow-minded as you?" Zai Yun was burning with rage. She had just been planning out Yisang's future cultivation path, worried he would be at a disadvantage within the Purple Mist sect. But now all of that was for nothing. Spiritual light flashed in her hand, and several Tier 3 treasures materialized. She clearly intended to attack Li Chang'an. Seeing this, Wu Xiu hastily tried to stop her. "Taoist Zai, nothing is certain yet. We shouldn't act rashly." "Taoist Wu, this Li Chang'an killed someone from our Purple Mist sect. According to the sect's rules, you should join me in striking him down." Zai Yun stared fixedly at Li Chang'an, her eyes filled with rage and killing intent. Wu Xiu did not make a move, instead trying once more to dissuade her. At the same time, he secretly sent a sound transmission to Li Chang'an. "Taoist Li, is that really what happened?" "Yes, do you believe me, Taoist Wu?" "I do believe you, but Taoist Zai doesn't. This is a bit of a problem." Wu Xiu's wariness toward Li Chang'an hadn't diminished, but he felt that Li Chang'an had no reason to attack. If Li Chang'an were really the kind of loose cultivator who would stop at nothing for resources, he wouldn't have rejected the Zai Saint test twice. Following the Zai Saint test would have granted him far more resources than he could ever get as a loose cultivator. He tried to persuade Zai Yun, saying, "Taoist Zai, I've known Taoist Li for many years. He's definitely not that kind of person. I suspect there's more to this. Could you please just calm down for a moment?" "Taoist Wu, you've known me for even longer. Are you saying you don't trust my judgment of character?" Zai Yun's tone was icy as she questioned him. Wu Xiu was instantly put in a difficult position. He stood between them, about to continue trying to persuade her. Just then, the surrounding gray mist suddenly began to churn, and a piercing, ice-cold wind blew from an unknown direction. The three of them realized it at almost the same time. The wind was poisoned. "This is bad." Wu Xiu unleashed a spell, blocking the poisonous wind, and swallowed a few antitoxic pills. "Taoist Zai, Taoist Li, can we set aside our argument for now and leave this place?" "Fine." Li Chang'an naturally had no objection. Although Zai Yun's anger hadn't faded, she knew what was important and agreed to leave. However, they soon discovered that a poisonous mist was rising from all directions, sweeping toward them on the cold wind. Under these conditions, their magical power drained rapidly, forcing them to constantly consume elixir pills to replenish it. If they couldn't keep it up, they would be overcome by the poisonous mist and be trapped here forever. Wu Xiu and Zai Yun planned to return the way they came. But they hadn't gone far before they realized something was wrong. "This is wrong, this isn't the way we came." Both of their expressions darkened. The map they had painstakingly drawn before was completely useless. Everything around them was in constant flux. The poisonous mist grew ever thicker, and the drain on their power intensified. At this rate, there was no way they could make it back to the exit. "We have to go deeper. The poisonous mist ahead is a bit thinner. There might be a sliver of hope." After scouting around, Wu Xiu decided to press deeper. Zai Yun had no other choice but to go deeper with him. Li Chang'an was already a step ahead of them, braving the ever-thickening poisonous mist as he delved deeper into this space. He vaguely sensed that within the poisonous mist, he could occasionally detect a flicker of Yisang's presence. It seems he had another motive, not just revenge against me. He was already exploring this place with Wu Xiu and Zai Yun long before I arrived. Could he have been planning to attack them? Li Chang'an mused. At that moment, Wu Xiu came to his side. His expression was grave as he asked, "Taoist Li, I hear you're a pill master. Do you have any extra antitoxic pills?" Of course. Li Chang'an understood what he was getting at. If their situation didn't improve, the treasures they were using to restore their magical power would eventually run out. At that point, they would have to rely on antitoxic treasures like antitoxic pills to survive in the poisonous mist. In the days that followed, the trio delved deeper into the perilous space. Behind them, the poisonous mist had thickened to a terrifying degree. Wu Xiuo and Zai Yun had long since given up the idea of turning back and could only brace themselves and continue forward. But gradually, the poisonous mist ahead of them also began to thicken. Wu Xiuo approached Li Chang'an's side again. With a troubled expression, he pleaded, "Taoist Li, could you spare me some elixir pills? I'm willing to trade an artifact refining treasure for them." Of course. Li Chang'an had an easygoing expression as he tossed over a storage pouch full of elixir pills. When Wu Xiuo opened it and looked inside, his eyes widened in an instant. They're all Tier 3 elixirs. There were pills for restoring magical power, as well as various types of antitoxic pills. "Taoist Li, your alchemy Tao has reached Tier 3 as well." Wu Xiuo was both shocked and delighted, his words tinged with a hint of disbelief. He had originally thought Li Chang'an was just a Tier 2 peak alchemist. After all, Li Chang'an's artifact refining had already reached Tier 3. It was rare for a cultivator to cultivate two skills to Tier 3 at the same time. Furthermore, both alchemy and artifact refining were among the most difficult of the 100 skills of cultivation immortality. Li Chang'an nodded and said, "I have a bit of a knack for alchemy, so progress has been pretty smooth. I just managed to reach Tier 3. "That's wonderful." Joy spread across Wu Xiuo's face. He had nearly given up hope, but Li Chang'an's Tier 3 alchemy Tao rekindled its flame. He returned to Zai Yun's side and offered her half of the elixir pills from the storage pouch. "Taoist Zai, with these elixir pills, we might be able to survive this crisis." "Take them away." Zai Yun gritted her teeth, refusing to accept the elixir pills. Although she was also shocked by Li Chang'an's two Tier 3 skills, the disgust and anger in her heart had not lessened in the slightest. "I would rather die here than take his elixir pills." Chapter 620, Chapter 307, 5 Poisons Master. Zai Yun admits her mistake. "Taoist Wu, aren't you worried that Li Chang'an poisoned the elixir pills?" Zai Yun's words were cold and her attitude unyielding. She refused to accept the elixir pills no matter what. If it weren't for this sudden turn of events, she would have killed Li Chang'an long ago. "How could I possibly take his elixir pills?" She offered a well-intentioned reminder. "Taoist Wu, loose cultivators like Li Chang'an have always been unscrupulous. Don't trust him so easily." This. Wu Xiuo looked completely helpless. He silently put the storage pouch away and didn't mention the elixir pills again. Zai Yun is the Zai Saintess's younger sister. The treasures in her storage pouch must be far more numerous than mine. Perhaps she really doesn't need these elixir pills. The atmosphere was extremely strange for the rest of their journey. The three of them barely spoke. Li Chang'an's expression was composed, showing little change as he walked calmly through the dense poison mist. Wu Xiuo, on the other hand, was full of anxiety, worriedly memorizing the path they had taken. Soon he noticed that Zai Yun's complexion was growing worse and worse. 7 days later, Zai Yun seemed to have used up all the treasures in her storage pouch that could restore magical power. The magical power surrounding her grew thinner and thinner. "Why isn't it over yet?" She clenched her teeth, her face gradually turning pale. Before long, her magical power was nearly depleted. She no longer had the strength to resist the poison mist assailing her from all sides, and had to resort to consuming an antitoxic treasure, struggling to hold on. 2 days later, the antitoxic treasure in Zai Yun's storage pouch was also depleted. But the poison mist was still endless, and there was no end in sight to the road ahead. Her face was deathly pale, and a sense of despair grew in her heart. A moment later, she suddenly swayed. Unable to hold on any longer, she collapsed to the ground. "Taoist Zai." Wu Xiuo's expression changed drastically, and he hurried forward to check on her. He saw that Zai Yun's lips were purple, and her arms were covered in a dense network of purplish-blue veins. She was clearly deeply poisoned. If she didn't receive treatment, she would soon die here. Wu Xiuo was frantic. As a guest elder of the sect serving the Zai Saintess, He couldn't just stand by and watch her sister die. In his haste, he cast aside his reservations. He immediately took out the antitoxic pill Li Chang'an had given him, dissolved it with his magical power, and transferred the medicinal energy into Zai Yun's meridians. After a moment, the signs of Zai Yun's poisoning gradually faded, and she regained consciousness. Taoist Wu, thank you. She suddenly saw the elixir pill in Wu Xiu's hand, and her feelings grew complicated. The very thing that had saved her life was an elixir pill refined by Li Chang'an. Her earlier suspicions were clearly wrong. Not only were these elixir pills not poisonous, but they were also extremely effective against the surrounding mist. Wu Xiu sent a quiet sound transmission. Taoist Zai, if you want to find out the real reason for Taoist Yi's death, you can't die here. You have to do whatever it takes to get out alive. Zai Yun sighed softly, I understand. Wu Xiu added, the elixir pills refined by Taoist Li are our only hope of getting out of here alive. As he spoke, he handed over a storage pouch. Inside the storage pouch were all sorts of Tier 3 elixirs refined by Li Chang'an. The old Zai Yun would have stubbornly told him to take it away. But now she said nothing, accepting the storage pouch in silence with a storm of mixed feelings in her heart. In the days that followed, relying on Li Chang'an's elixir pills, Zai Yun recovered to her normal state and began using various methods to investigate her surroundings. Taoist Wu, I feel like something isn't right. The poison mist seems to be deliberately targeting us. I'm afraid someone is controlling all of this from the shadows. Taoist Zai, Taoist Li just shared that same suspicion with me. Li Chang'an he. Zai Yun's expression was complicated as she glanced at Li Chang'an. The only reason she'd noticed something was wrong was because she had used a treasure given to her by Zai Zai. How could Li Chang'an see that something was amiss? Zai Yun wanted to go and ask him. However, she had soured their relationship too much before. Though she wanted to speak now, she was too proud to do so, and could only let countless questions churn in her mind. Wu Xiu saw what she was thinking, and immediately ran ahead to Li Chang'an's side. Taoist Li, Taoist Zai shares your suspicion. Do you know who is controlling all this from the shadows? Yi Sang. Li Chang'an's tone was flat as he uttered the name. Hearing this, Wu Xiu was stunned. Li Chang'an had already killed Yi Sang, reducing him to a pile of minced flesh. How could he possibly have come back to life to deal with them? Taoist Li, are you sure? Yes, the Yi Sang I killed earlier was likely just a clone. A cloning technique. Wu Xiu was lost in thought. A moment later, he returned to Zai Yun's side and relayed what Li Chang'an had said. Zai Yun was also astonished and found it hard to accept. It can't be Taoist Yi. She shook her head slightly, denying it. Even if Taoist Yi were still alive, with his kind-hearted nature, he would never move against us. The words had barely left her mouth. A young man's voice suddenly rang out from the depths of the poison mist. Haha, Taoist Zai, you really do trust me. What? Zai Yun shuddered, an expression of disbelief appearing on her face as she stared into the depths of the mist. All three of them were very familiar with that voice. It was Yi Sang. Taoist Yi, what's going on? Wu Xiu shouted, his heart filled with vigilance. Recalling what Li Chang'an had said earlier, he had a growing sense of foreboding. The next instant, the surroundings suddenly changed. The poison mist receded, and everything around them became clear. Only then did Wu Xiu and Zai Yun realize they were in a valley. On the cliff faces on both sides of the valley were rows of strange hanging coffins. A rough count suggested there were at least 10,000 of them. Inside every coffin was a purplish-blue poisonous corpse, slowly emitting a dark green corpse toxin. A land of corpse nourishment. Li Chang'an remained relatively calm. His eyes swept over the hanging coffins before finally settling on what lay ahead. Chapter 621, Chapter 307, Five Poison Master. Zai Yun realizes her mistake. At the valley's exit, just ahead of the three of them, dressed in a white robe, Yi Sang stood with a gentle smile on his face. His demeanor was warm, and he still exuded the fragrance of herbs, making it easy for others to form a good impression of him. Taoist Li, your knowledge is quite impressive. To think you even know about the land of corpse nourishment. He spoke with a smile, the picture of confidence, seemingly unconcerned about the trio escaping. Zai Yun's expression turned ugly as she stared daggers at him. She never would have imagined that the person behind all this was actually Yi Sang. Yisang's true nature was clearly not as benevolent as he appeared. Taoist Yi, who in the world are you? Heh, I imagine Taoist Zai already has a guess. Yisang replied with a smile. A flash of light emanated from his hand, his magical power coalescing into the shapes of 5 poisonous insects. I come from the Yan country 5 Poisons Valley, and I am a disciple of a nascent soul true monarch. So you're really from Yan country? Zai Yun gritted her teeth, hating herself for being so foolish as to be deceived by a demon cultivator. Li Chang'an understood everything. He had his suspicions, but only now were they confirmed. The Yan country cultivation immortality realm bordered Zhao country to the north. In the entire Yan country cultivation immortality realm, there were no righteous sects. From top to bottom, whether it was a nascent soul influence or a qi refining influence, they were all established by demon cultivators. Yan country could be considered the main bastion of the demonic path. The Yin soul sect's main sect, the Nether soul sect, was one of Yan country's nascent soul demon sects. And this 5 Poisons Valley that Yisang hailed from was another one of Yan country's nascent soul demon sects. According to legend, the 5 Poisons Valley was home to 5 great nascent soul old demons, all of whom were poison cultivators with terrifying methods. Wu Xiu shouted, Yisang, you have some nerve, a demon cultivator from Yan country daring to run rampant in our Zhao country. And why shouldn't I dare? Yisang retorted with a laugh. The cultivators here are all pathetically weak, so what if they know I'm a demon cultivator? I could casually toss out a few poison techniques and stir up a storm, making countless cultivators in this place willingly become poison cultivators. Hearing this, Li Chang'an was suddenly reminded of an old acquaintance. There was once a cultivator in the southern domain called the 5 Poison Wanderer, the poison technique he cultivated. Could it be that you were the one who gave it to him? That's right. Yisang was all smiles, answering every question readily. When I first arrived in the southern domain all those years ago, I found that little fellow quite agreeable to the eye, so I bestowed a few poison techniques upon him. I have to admit, those few poison techniques were quite good. The 5 Poison Wanderer's talent wasn't exceptional, yet with those poison techniques, he managed to cultivate to the foundation establishment peak and even had a chance at core formation. As for the death of the 5 Poison Wanderer, Yisang felt no pity. After all, he was just a pawn casually placed on the board. If he could throw the southern domain into chaos, all the better. If not, it didn't matter. To him, what was truly important was this land of corpse nourishment. I discovered this place many years ago. There are no opportunities inside, but it is perfect for nourishing corpses. Thus, I spent over 100 years slowly figuring out the situation here and gaining control of its numerous residual arrays. Now Yisang was practically half-master of this strange space. That was why. He seemed so confident. Li Chang'an asked again, you invited Taoist Zai Yun and Taoist Wu Xiu here to refine them into poisonous corpses. Not exactly. Yisang shook his head slightly. I merely wanted to use a poison technique to control Taoist Zai Yun, and through her, get close to the Zai Saintess to win the favor of the Purple Mist sect's future nascent soul true monarch. I see. Li Chang'an understood. What the man said was more or less what he had guessed. As for why he wanted to win Zai's favor, Yisang didn't elaborate. He asked with a smile, Taoist Zai Yun, are you willing to become my servant and help me win the favor of the Zai Saintess? In your dreams. Zai Yun stared at him, her eyes filled with killing intent. At the same time, she felt a pang of regret. Because of a demon cultivator, she had misunderstood a righteous cultivator like Li Chang'an. Thinking back now, every single word Li Chang'an said before was correct. It was just her pride. As a sect disciple of a major sect, she had always looked down on mountain wanderer cultivators and was biased against Li Chang'an, refusing to believe his words. Zai Yun said apologetically, Taoist Li, I was wrong before. It's fine. Li Chang'an waved his hand dismissively. Let's kill this man first. We can talk about other things later. Right, let's kill this demon cultivator first. Zai Yun could no longer contain her killing intent. Magical power surged around her as she wished for nothing more than to tear Yisang to shreds. Yisang let out a loud laugh. Kill me? You two think too highly of yourselves. With a grand wave of his hand, the surrounding poisonous fog surged, instantly engulfing the entire valley. The situation around the trio reverted to how it was before. Xianxia's laughter echoed from deep within the poisonous fog. Li Chang'an, I have operated here for a century. The poisonous fog is endless. How many elixir pills could you possibly have? He clearly intended to trap the three of them in the poisonous fog until they exhausted all their treasures. The dense poisonous fog assailed them madly, devouring everything in the vicinity. All three erected a barrier with their magical power to temporarily hold back the fog, but their own magical power was draining rapidly, forcing them to constantly consume elixir pills. Bang! A poisonous corpse suddenly appeared out of the dense fog and slammed against the magical power barrier in front of Li Chang'an. Immediately after, more and more poisonous corpses began to attack. Countless poisonous corpses flickered in and out of sight within the fog, each with a hideous expression, making the place seem like a purgatory on earth. What should we do now? Wu Shuo's face was full of worry. His magical combat strength wasn't great, and his artifact refining skill was useless here, so he could only ask Li Chang'an and Zai Yun. Xianxia has been operating here for too long. We can't possibly outlast him. Taoist Li, how much longer can your elixir pills hold out? It's all right, I can hold on for a few more days. Chapter 622, Chapter 307, Five Poisons Master Zai Yun admits her mistake. Li Chang'an's expression remained calm, without a trace of panic. A spiritual light flashed in his hand, and he took out a storage pouch. He opened it and showed it to Wu Shuo. He saw tens of thousands of elixir pills, piled high like mountains. Wu Shuo was instantly dumbfounded. This. His heart trembled and his voice quivered, leaving him speechless for a moment. In all his time as a cultivator, he had never seen so many elixir pills amassed in one place. Taoist Wu, what's wrong? Her curiosity piqued. Zai Yun also leaned over to take a look. The next instant, a look of shock also appeared on her pretty face. Even a genius like her, from a great nascent soul sect, had never seen a single cultivator with so many Tier 3 elixir pills. Compared to Li Chang'an, I'm the one who seems like a mountain wanderer cultivator. Taoist Li Yu, how do you have so many elixir pills? Zai Yun swallowed hard, as if trying to gulp down her shock, but she couldn't help but ask. Li Chang'an smiled. Taoist Zai, you may not know this, but the path of a loose cultivator is fraught with difficulty. We often encounter all sorts of dangers, so I prepared a few extra elixir pills just to be safe. A few? Zai Yun's beautiful eyes went wide, and her voice rose considerably. From her perspective, the elixir pills in that storage pouch were practically endless. He could probably outlast Xianxia until the end of time. And it wasn't just ordinary elixir pills. There were also all kinds of Dharma pills. A look of pleasant surprise suddenly crossed her face as she took out a Dharma pill from the pouch. It's a celestial thunder magical pill. This pill contains thunder power which can shatter the poison mist here. If we get rid of this mist, I'm confident I can kill that Xianxia. Oh, is Taoist Zai truly confident? Li Chang'an had originally planned to act himself. But if Zai Yun had the means, there was no need for him to intervene. Zai Yun nodded. My sister once granted me a treasure. This treasure can unleash power far beyond the golden core stage several times. As long as I can find an opening, it won't be difficult to kill that Xianxia. Then I'll have to trouble Taoist Zai to make a move. If these Dharma pills aren't enough, I have more. As he spoke, Li Chang'an took out 2 more storage pouches. These 2 storage pouches were also filled to the brim with all sorts of Dharma pills. Furthermore, he also had a vast amount of alchemy materials. If that still wasn't enough, he could perform alchemy on the spot. Looking at this massive quantity of Dharma pills, Zai Yun was shaken beyond words. She took a deep breath and said solemnly, "Rest assured, Taoist Li. With the help of these Dharma pills, I will definitely be able to slay that Xianxia." With that, she took a large number of Dharma pills and transformed into a streak of purple light, flying out. In an instant, thunderlight erupted between heaven and earth. Countless celestial thunder magical pills exploded beneath the sky, their terrifying thunder power linking together into a vast sea of lightning that instantly shattered all the poison mist. The numerous poisonous corpses within the mist also fell one after another, turning to dust amidst the rolling thunder. Not good. Xianxia, who was hiding in the shadows, had his expression change drastically, not expecting such a turn of events. His figure retreated rapidly, intending to flee the area. But Zai Yun had already found his hiding spot. Her face was full of fury, and she radiated killing intent. A treasure with a shocking aura appeared in her hand. Demon Cultivator, die. She let out a sharp cry, and the treasure in her hand shone brightly, transforming into a brilliant golden long spear. A flash of gold lit up the world as the long spear tore through the sky, suddenly piercing Yi Sang's chest and pinning him firmly to the cliff face. Wait, I'm willing to be your slave. I'm willing to return to the Five Poisons Valley and act as an inside agent for the righteous sects. Yi Sang's expression was panicked, as he begged for mercy repeatedly. But Zai Yun's killing intent was already irrepressible, and she launched another spear. Boom! Yi Sang's head exploded on the spot. This time, there were no unexpected developments. Li Chang'an quietly used the venerable soul banner to collect his soul. The battle was over. Zai Yun's pretty face was slightly pale. Clearly, she had expended a great deal of energy. She took Yi Sang's storage pouch, but instead of looking through it directly, she took out all the treasures within. Taoist Li, I owe you a great debt for this. Otherwise, even if I hadn't died, I would have been controlled by that Yi Sang. If any of these treasures are useful to you, please take them all. All right. Li Chang'an didn't stand on ceremony, because the 10,000 poison goo in his sleeve was rolling around in excitement. Inside Yi Sang's storage pouch were numerous poison Dao treasures. The tears of a few of them even reached Quasar 4, which would be of immense benefit to the 10,000 poison goo. The 10,000 poison goo secretly sent a message, saying pitifully, Master, my stomach is so empty it's caving in. You little rascal, you're as round as a ball. Where exactly is it caving in? Li Chang'an pursed his lips. With a wave of his hand, he collected all the poison Dao treasures. Seeing this, Zai Yun's eyes flickered, but she didn't ask any questions. Everyone had secrets, and in her eyes, Li Chang'an had more than most. Prying too deeply would inevitably lead to resentment. In addition to the poison Dao treasures, Li Chang'an also made a copy of all the poison Dao techniques and magic. Among them was one celestial grade poison technique, as well as several types of celestial grade poison Dao magic. They were useless to Li Chang'an, but they could be used to fill the library pavilion of Chang'an Mountain and bolster its foundation. This 100 poisons puppet body refinement must be his incarnation technique. Refining an incarnation with a puppet refining technique has too many drawbacks. It can't compare to my blood-dripping incarnation. Li Chang'an casually flipped through it. Although the tier of this magic reached celestial grade, it was far less convenient and effective than his blood-dripping incarnation. He quickly lost interest and turned his attention to the Spirit Doctor's legacy. A Tier 3 top-grade Spirit Doctor's legacy. He was quite interested in this legacy. An age of chaos is approaching. Having the skills of a high-tier Spirit Doctor wouldn't be a bad thing. Perfect. I can use this Spirit Doctor's legacy to distract myself during body refinement. A smile appeared on Li Chang'an's face. He copied the legacy and tossed it into his storage pouch. Most of the remaining items were of little value. Wu Shuo didn't take anything, as he hadn't contributed to the fight after all. Zai Yun collected the rest of the items and also took Yi Sang's corpse, presumably to bring it to Zai Zai. Taoist Li, now that this matter is settled, are you preparing to head back? Her voice had become very gentle as she asked Li Chang'an. Without the mastermind Yi Sang, our return journey shouldn't have too many surprises. Li Chang'an shook his head slightly and looked toward the depths of this strange space. Taoist Zai, I actually didn't come here for opportunities, but to save a friend. Chapter 623, Chapter 308, Divinity Transformation Battle, the Saintess's Surprise. A rescue. Zai Yun was surprised. Taoist Li, is your friend trapped deep within this place? That's right. Li Chang'an briefly explained the purpose of his trip. After he finished speaking, Zai Yun's and Wu Shuo's opinion of him changed once again. Rumor had it that Li Chang'an was a coward who clung to life, always hiding in his shell like a turtle, never daring to take any risks. Yet here Li Chang'an was, willing to enter this perilous small world alone to save a friend. He braved hardship and faced danger head-on. How could a cultivator with such courage and mettle possibly be a coward who clung to life? Zai Yun gave Li Chang'an a deep look and sighed. Taoist Li, the outside world misunderstands you so deeply. It's just a bit of empty fame, nothing to worry about. Li Chang'an smiled, his tone relaxed. He was, in fact, a coward who clung to life. The outside world's assessment of him was quite accurate. However, he had his divination to rely on. To him, this trip wasn't dangerous at all. It was more like a leisurely stroll to clear his head, save someone along the way, and pick up some opportunities. Chang'an took out his communication Jade pendant and sent a message to Xianxia. Taoist Mu, what's your situation? A moment later, Xianxia's reply came through. Taoist Li, I'm in a relatively safe area. Good, don't move around, just wait for me where you are. Chang'an gave a few more instructions. Xianxia's luck was decent. Though she had been trapped for years, she hadn't been discovered by Yisang. This dimension was extremely strange. Even after a century of effort, Yisang had only managed to gain control over a small area. And Xianxia was trapped in one of the regions he had yet to explore. After a short rest, Chang'an set out again, venturing deeper into this dimension. Ziyun and Wu Shuo did not leave. Instead, they continued onward with him. In the following days, Ziyun's attitude toward Chang'an was now completely different from before. She would intentionally or unintentionally draw closer to Chang'an, her demeanor gentle as she asked about his past experiences. In response, Chang'an wasn't too perfunctory, briefly recounting some events from his cultivation journey. She is Zai's younger sister after all. If I get on good terms with her, I can indeed gain Zai's favor. Although I don't want to become a guest elder of the sect under Zai, I do want to cultivate a good relationship with her. You can never have too many connections. Back when I was still immortal, I heard there were immortals in this world who could fly through the heavens and burrow through the earth, living forever. That's what sparked my desire to seek them out. Chang'an spoke in a steady voice, slowly telling his story. His life experiences, while not exactly epic, had certainly been full of twists and turns. Without his divination, most of his experiences could be considered fraught with peril. Before she knew it, Ziyun was completely engrossed in his tale. She had spent most of her years cultivating within the Purple Mist sect. Even when she went out for training, she was always with Zai and rarely had any truly thrilling experiences. When she heard how Chang'an had been bullied by a fake pill cultivator right after reaching Foundation establishment, she unconsciously clenched her fists, feeling indignation and worry for him. Taoist Li, your journey has truly been a difficult one, she exclaimed with heartfelt sincerity. Chang'an laughed. Such is the path of a loose cultivator. If it were too easy, I'm afraid everyone would reach the golden core realm. Then, why do you insist on being a loose cultivator, refusing to become a guest elder of the sect under my sister? Taoist Zai, if I were to become a guest elder of the sect under your sister, would I have a chance at an opportunity to reach the nascent soul realm? Well, Ziyun fell silent. A nascent soul opportunity. Zai doesn't even have enough for herself, so how could she possibly give one to a guest elder of the sect? Even if she had extra nascent soul opportunities, she would give them to those close to her, like me. Chang'an added, the golden core realm is already the end of my cultivation path in this life. It makes no difference whether I become an honored guest elder or not. Since that's the case, why shouldn't I be a free and unfettered mountain wanderer cultivator? You're right, Taoist Li, I didn't think it through. Ziyun looked apologetic and didn't bring the matter up again. A few more days passed. On this day, Chang'an was in the middle of recounting his experience planning for core formation. Suddenly, his eyes flickered as he looked a short distance ahead. We're here. In the hazy gray area ahead, he sensed Xianxia's aura. After walking a little further, Chang'an called out, Taoist Mu, are you here? Taoist Li. Xianxia's delighted voice rang out. Soon, she followed the sound and appeared before Chang'an. She looked much the same as when they had parted years ago, still with the appearance of a young girl, but her bright eyes were no longer as lively, now holding a hint of weariness born from time. Taoist Li, after so many years apart, I finally get to see you again. Sensing Chang'an's presence, she felt exceptionally at ease and found herself wanting to move closer to him without realizing it. Chang'an sent out a stream of magical power to inspect her body and found nothing seriously wrong. She had long since cultivated the Foundation establishment peak. Her physique was undamaged, her magical power had reached perfection, and her divine sense was exceptional. If she hadn't been trapped here, she might have already attempted core formation long ago. You too, this is Xianxia, a golden core seed from the southern domain's Mu family. Li Chang'an gave a brief introduction for both sides. Upon learning that Xianxia possessed a spirit body, both Zai Yun and Wu Xiu were somewhat surprised. Taoist Mu, you have yet to achieve core formation. Why would you dare venture so deep into this place? Zai Yun didn't put on the airs of a senior, addressing her directly as Taoist Mu. He could also see Xianxia's condition. Barring any accidents, Xianxia was certain to succeed in her core formation, and the quality of her core would not be low. Sai, it's all because of this token. Xianxia took out the token. On the surface of the token were carved the two words Cyan Wood, which easily brought to mind the Cyan Wood celestial monarch from 30,000 years ago. I had hoped to find the celestial monarch's legacy, but I found nothing. Chapter 624, Chapter 308, Divinity Transformation Battle, the Saintess's Astonishment. Xianxia sighed and recounted her experiences from over the years. A moment later, Zai Yun and Wu Xiu each took a token and tried to sense something, but they felt nothing. But the moment Li Chang'an took the token, he felt a faint connection. It's even deeper inside. His gaze was profound as he looked into the depths of this gray, hazy world. The connection the token gave him was crystal clear, far clearer than what Xianxia had described. I have a feeling. Are you all willing to come with me and take a look? Li Chang'an retracted his gaze and asked the other three. None of the three refused. They were all a little expectant, curious to see where the token would ultimately lead, and if it was truly related to the Cyan Wood celestial monarch. Afterward, the four of them set off together. The next few days were smooth, and they encountered no further dangers. Soon, they arrived at the deepest part of this world. The gray mist here was already quite thin. What appeared before them was a small, ordinary wooden cabin. In the courtyard, in front of the cabin, stood a wooden table. A skeleton sat cross-legged behind the wooden table, a storage pouch placed beside it. Could that be the Cyan Wood celestial monarch? Wu Xiu stared at the skeleton, his face filled with excitement. A divinity transformation celestial monarch hadn't appeared in the entire cultivation realm for 30,000 years. If he could obtain the Cyan Wood celestial monarch's legacy, perhaps he could find out what had changed in the cultivation realm and go further on his cultivation path. He might even become the next divinity transformation celestial monarch. I don't think so, Zai Yun said pensively. According to our sect's ancient records, even after a divinity transformation powerhouse dies, the pressure emitted by their remains is unbearable for ordinary cultivators. But this skeleton gives off no pressure at all. Hearing this, Wu Xiu was instantly disappointed. Li Chang'an, however, showed no change in expression. He had already learned the identity of this skeleton through the results of his divination. But he didn't say it out loud. Instead, he controlled a puppet to walk forward, bow to the skeleton, and thank it for leaving behind a legacy. After that, he used the puppet to take the storage pouch and opened it to have a look. Most of the treasures in the storage pouch were unremarkable, about on par with the wealth of an ordinary golden core master, seemingly not befitting the status of a registered disciple of a divinity transformation celestial monarch. Li Chang'an searched for a moment and quickly found the object of his trip. The celestial grade concealing technique, shadow transformation illusion body. He immediately put it away, not showing it to the others. A concealing technique of celestial grade is considered extremely precious, even in a nascent soul major sect. Outsiders cannot know of this. In addition, there was another celestial grade magic. Mulongteng. This was an attack technique. Li Chang'an gave it a brief look and estimated its power to be stronger than the celestial wood immortal wheel, but not as strong as the Cyan Wood divine light. He also put it away immediately, not revealing it to the others. Aside from these two techniques, nothing else was particularly valuable. A moment later, Li Chang'an found a special jade scroll. Inside this jade scroll were words left behind by this senior from before his death. My name is Lin Chuan, a registered disciple of the Cyan Wood celestial monarch. My aptitude was abysmal, with only a single wisp of spirit charm. Master valued my disposition and took me as his disciple, allowing me to step onto the golden core Tao. Hearing this, Li Chang'an was inwardly astonished. As expected of a divinity transformation celestial monarch. To think he could raise a cultivator with only a single wisp of spirit charm into a golden core master. One must understand that a single wisp of spirit charm was considered the absolute bottom, even among those with inferior spirit roots. An ordinary loose cultivator with such talent would likely have remained at the early stage of qi refining for their entire life. Although this senior's talent was poor, his luck was truly exceptional. After speaking of himself, he began to speak of the firewood celestial monarch. Master achieved divinity transformation and was already unrivaled in this world. He had no other aspirations but to wholeheartedly seek the legendary ascension platform, wishing to ascend to the immortal realm and embark on an even more glorious path of cultivation. Unfortunately, Master searched bitterly for many years but never found the ascension platform. At this point, a note of regret entered the senior's voice. But soon his tone shifted. And yet, Master was not truly unrivaled. That day, a powerful enemy suddenly attacked. Master fought a great battle with them for several days. Although he managed to repel them, Master was also gravely injured. We disciples were too weak to see the enemy's true appearance. We were only left with a question. Master was clearly the only divinity transformation powerhouse in the world, so why would a second one suddenly appear? Hearing this, Chang'an's heart grew slightly turbulent. A battle between divinity transformation experts had actually occurred 30,000 years ago, but there were no such records in the library pavilion of Great Qi. After calming himself, he continued to listen. Master never told us who the enemy was, he simply became much more silent. Later, Master suddenly vanished. No one knew where he went, not even the eldest disciple knew of Master's whereabouts. Where did Master go in the end? The immortal realm. The voice in the Jade scroll cut off there, leaving behind only endless regret and questions. After listening, Chang'an pondered for a long time. To think that not even the firewood celestial monarch's own disciple knew his final whereabouts. It seems the chances of obtaining his legacy are minuscule. Perhaps he never left one behind at all. Chang'an sighed softly, no longer holding out hope for the celestial monarch's legacy. After that, he displayed the treasures from the storage pouch to Xianxia and the other two. After hearing the words from the Jade Scroll, all three were shaken. Someone was actually able to gravely injure the firewood celestial monarch. Could it be that he wasn't the last divinity transformation celestial monarch? 30,000 years isn't that long ago. Many records from that time have survived, so why is there no mention of another divinity transformation celestial monarch? Like Chang'an, their hearts were filled with questions. Chapter 625, Chapter 308, Battle of Divinity Transformation, the Saintess's Surprise. Xianxia held a high position in the Purple Mist sect. Thanks to her sister's status as the Saintess, she could browse many of the ancient texts in the sect's library, but she had never seen any mention of another divinity transformation celestial monarch. The Purple Mist sect also had no records on whether the legendary immortal realm even existed. When it came to heritage, the Purple Mist sect, with its history of just over 10,000 years, couldn't compare to the 30,000-year-old Great Qi immortal dynasty. After searching the area for a long time without finding any other treasures, they had no choice but to leave. Half a month later, they finally left the strange and oppressive space. We're finally out. Feeling the gentle water spiritual power of the outside world, all four of them felt their entire bodies relax. While the secret realm was also fraught with danger, at least they could extend their divine sense there. The world around them was bright and clear, not nearly as suffocating. Xianxia felt it most keenly, as she had been trapped for decades. Her peers from back then had all reached core formation one by one, while she was still stuck at the foundation establishment peak, having wasted so much time. After resting by the lake for a while, the four of them set out again. A few days later, they arrived at a mine. Years ago, it was in this very mine that a black market stall owner had dug up a huge smoke and mist stone. For the past several years, Xianxia had been cultivating here. She would occasionally venture deep into the mineshafts to explore and had discovered quite a few treasures. The purple Quasite 4 flying ship was hovering above the mine. Not far from it was another flying ship. The ship was a deep yellow color and was also a Quasite 4. It didn't belong to the Purple Mist sect, but to the Yellow Sand sect. The two flying ships faced each other from a distance, their auras locked in a tense standoff. This standoff had persisted for years. The one in control of the other flying ship is Wei Su, the saint child of the Yellow Sand sect. He has a significant background. He's also a disciple of a true monarch, but he's no match for my sister. Xian explained the situation to Li Chang'an in detail. A moment later, the four of them landed on the flying ship. A joyful expression on her face, Xian approached Zai. "Sister, I'm back." "It's good you're back. Did something happen on your trip?" Zai, dressed in a purple gown and still wearing her light purple veil, had an ethereal aura. Her gaze swept past Xian to the people behind her. She noticed that Yi Sang was missing, and in his place were Li Chang'an and Mu Xiaxia. Because of this, she guessed that something had gone wrong on their trip. Xian nodded and recounted the events of their journey. "Sister, it's all thanks to Taoist Li this time. Otherwise, I most likely wouldn't have made it back." Upon hearing this, a flicker of imperceptible surprise flashed through Zai's perpetually placid eyes. What surprised her was Yi Sang's identity. A demon sect cultivator was nothing to her. After all, the Yin Soul sect, a subsect of the Nether Soul sect, had long since established roots in the southern domain. What truly surprised her were Li Chang'an's skills. Tier 3 middle-grade artifact refining, and Tier 3 top-grade alchemy. Even within the Purple Mist sect, mastering either one of those two skills would guarantee exceptionally good treatment. And there were very few in the entire Purple Mist sect who had mastered two Tier 3 skills simultaneously. Moreover, Zai hadn't forgotten that long before reaching core formation, Li Chang'an already possessed a quasi-Tier 3 array skill. By now, he might have already broken through in his study of arrays to become a Tier 3 array master. That meant Li Chang'an likely possessed 3 Tier 3 skills. How could she not be surprised that a mere loose cultivator had managed to come this far? Her gaze lingered on Li Chang'an, and she sized him up carefully as if seeing him for the very first time. "Taoist Li, are you truly unwilling to become my honored guest elder?" she asked, her voice ethereal, extending the invitation to Li Chang'an once more. This was the third chance. No one had ever received so many offers from her. "Taoist Li, if you become my honored guest elder, I can secure you an important position as a golden core elder, not a nominal one, but an elder with true authority. From now on, your disciples and descendants can develop under the protection of the Purple Mist sect." This time her offer was astonishing. If Li Chang'an agreed, he would instantly transform from a mountain wanderer cultivator to an elder with true power in a nascent soul major sect. This was a status that countless cultivators could only dream of, but never attain. But he refused once more. "Thank you for your kind offer, Saintess." Although she had expected it, Zai was still momentarily stunned to actually hear him say it. In her entire life, no one had ever refused her 3 times in a row. A strange feeling stirred within her. She watched Li Chang'an silently, as if trying to see through to his true thoughts. After a good while, she finally spoke again. "Forget it. Since you are unwilling, Taoist Li, I will not force the issue. I will not bring up the matter of the honored guest elder again. However, if you change your mind, you can come find me anytime." This was a promise in itself, equivalent to an open-ended invitation. It was clear how highly she regarded Li Chang'an. Then she added that by saving Xian, Li Chang'an had earned a favor from her. If he ever ran into trouble in the future, he could ask her to intervene on his behalf once. As long as his opponent wasn't a nascent soul true monarch, she was confident she could handle them. "Thank you, Saintess." Li Chang'an was in a great mood. "I've finally earned a favor from the Saintess of the Purple Mist sect. From now on, as long as I hold on to this favor, the connection between me and Zai won't be easily severed. My network within the Purple Mist sect is now formally established. I have Zai in the Purple Mist sect and Muyu in the Great Qi Immortal dynasty. I can build ties with both of these major nascent soul influences. Things will be much more convenient from now on." Li Chang'an was quite looking forward to the treasure vaults of the 2 great nascent soul influences. Of course, he was not satisfied with just this. If possible, he wanted to forge connections with even more nascent soul influences. Just as he was thinking this, a startling aura suddenly erupted from the other flying ship in the distance. Immediately after, a sky full of yellow sand materialized, forming a massive hand that blotted out the sun as it bore down heavily on the purple flying ship. Zai snorted coldly, unleashing a blast of magic that shattered the giant hand. Her gaze was icy as she looked toward the other flying ship. Wei Su, do you wish to engage me in magical combat? Haha, Taoist Zai Zai, you misunderstand. I wasn't attacking you. A young, yellow-robed figure appeared aboard the other flying ship. It was none other than Wei Su, the third disciple of Xianxia, true monarch. His gaze passed over Zai Zai and landed on Li Chang'an behind her. Li Chang'an, I didn't expect to see you here. This saves me some trouble. Today I'll be taking your head. Chapter 626, Chapter 309, Successive Advancements, Tier 4 Divination. Wei Zun's face was all smiles, but his voice was filled with killing intent. Hearing this, everyone on the flying ship grew a little confused. Li Chang'an was just a loose cultivator from the southern domain. How could he have provoked the saint child of the Yellow Sand sect? Zai Yun's face filled with worry. Taoist Li, she asked, when did you make an enemy of that Wei Su? She was worried because the power gap between the two was simply too great. Li Chang'an was only at the early stage of Golden Core. But Wei Su was already in the late stage of Golden Core, and he was far stronger than an ordinary late Golden Core stage cultivator. If the two of them engaged in magical combat, Li Chang'an likely wouldn't last more than a few moves before Wei Su cut him down. Li Chang'an replied, "It's a long story. It all started before I reached core formation." He briefly explained his feud with Mandarin Duck Valley of the Western Domain. Of course, he omitted many details, such as the fact that he had killed Shihu Master. That Shihu Master died mysteriously, and Wei Zun is his senior brother, so the task of killing me probably fell to him. So that's what happened. After he finished, Wu Xiu and the others were dumbfounded. The whole affair was so full of twists and turns, even involving a nascent soul true monarch, that they found it unbelievable. Even the way Zai Zai looked at him became a bit strange. Taoist Li, to think you could provoke a nascent soul-level assassination attempt while you were still in the Foundation establishment realm, and then survive an encounter with a nascent soul true monarch. She really didn't know whether to call Li Chang'an lucky or unlucky. To be targeted by a nascent soul true monarch. Any ordinary Golden Core master would have probably developed a heart demon by now. But Li Chang'an acted as if nothing was wrong, showing no sign of distress. If Wei Su hadn't taken the initiative to attack, no one would have ever known about this. After I reach the nascent soul realm, I will do my best to resolve this matter for you. Given Xianxia true monarch's status, he shouldn't keep targeting a junior like you indefinitely. Thank you, Saintess. Li Chang'an thanked her at once. Through their recent interactions, he had come to understand the Saintess's character to some extent. Since she had made a promise, she would definitely try to fulfill it. Just then, on the other flying ship, Wei Su attacked again. Wind rise. With a great shout, a gale suddenly swept across the world. The vast wind howled, its aura violent. In an instant, it gathered before him and transformed into an earth-shattering shriek that lunged toward the purple mist sect's flying ship. A celestial-grade magic, Xianxia. Before the shriek even arrived, everyone's ears were already ringing. Zai Zai snorted coldly, waving her hand to cast a spell that dispersed the Xianxia. The world quickly returned to normal. Wei Su, do you really want to fight me? Taoist Zai Zai, that Li Chang'an isn't a member of your Purple Mist sect. He's just a mountain wanderer cultivator. Why not give his head to me? Wei Su stated his condition with a smile. As long as I take his head, I can guarantee that for the next 3 years, I will not compete with you for this spiritual ore load. Taoist Li is my friend. Zai Zai's calm words directly extinguished all of Wei Su's hopes. The smile on his face instantly faded. With Zai Zai protecting him, there was no way he could kill Li Chang'an today. Li Chang'an, you'll die by my hands sooner or later. Why not die now and save yourself from living in fear? Why don't you leave the flying ship right now and let me take your head? Wei Su stared at Li Chang'an, killing intent surging in his eyes. He was confident enough. As long as Li Chang'an left the flying ship and Zai didn't intervene, he could take Li Chang'an's life in a single move. Li Chang'an replied with a smile, Taoist Wei, you're mistaken. I'm quite fond of living. I'll take it one day at a time. Wei Su frowned. Do you dare to fight me? Why should I? The immortal Tao is long and arduous. One needs the heart of an expert. You don't even have the courage to fight me and only want to hide behind others. How can you expect to get ahead on the path of the immortal Tao? Taoist Wei, I have no intention of getting ahead. I just want to live a little longer. You? Wei Su was at a loss for words, unable to think of a retort. Li Chang'an didn't care about face. His mentality was astonishingly stable, making it impossible to provoke him with words. He was like an old tortoise in its shell, completely unassailable. After a brief standoff, Wei Su, unable to find a solution for the time being, had no choice but to retract his aura and return to his flying ship. However, a faint, almost imperceptible aura lingered outside the purple mist sect's flying ship, vaguely locked onto Li Chang'an. Obviously, as long as Li Chang'an left the flying ship, Wei Su would find an opportunity to strike. Seeing this, Zai Yun pleaded, "Sister, can you escort Taoist Li back to Chang'an Mountain?" Hearing this, Zai glanced at her, a strange, unreadable meaning in her eyes. "All right, it's been a while. Let's go back and take a look at that spirit vein." She didn't refuse. With a wave of her fair hand, the flying ship immediately set off, heading out of the secret realm. Li Chang'an immediately thanked her. Wei Su was now completely out of options and could only watch from a distance. Although his strength was considerable, he didn't dare follow them all the way. After all, Chang'an Mountain was deep within the southern domain. If he were to be besieged by Zai and the many golden core cultivators of the southern domain, he would be forced to flee in disgrace, even if he managed to survive. A few days later, a purple flying ship came to a steady stop over Chang'an Mountain. Seeing the changes that had taken place on the spirit vein, Wu Shuo and the others were full of admiration. Back then, they had only used this spirit vein as a cultivation dojo, and hadn't utilized all the spiritual land to its full potential. Now, at the foot of the mountain was the vast Chang'an immortal city. It was prosperous and thriving, bustling with the voices of people, as cultivators came and went in an endless stream. The mountain itself was now home to numerous spirit medicine gardens, where countless spirit medicines grew with lush branches and leaves, flourishing and bearing abundant fruit. Even as members of the Purple Mist sect, they were a little envious of Li Chang'an's life. In the southern domain cultivation realm, possessing such an estate would surely make for a very comfortable cultivation life.